DHRUVA UPAKHYANam. The story of Dhruva Mahārāja comes in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapters 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we will read only the translations given by Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 8, Dhruva Mahārāja leaves home for the forest. Text 1. The great sage Maitreya said, the 4 great Kumara sages headed by Sanaka, as well as Narada, Ribhu, Hamsa, Aruni, and Yati, all sons of Brahma, did not live at home, but became Urdhvareta or Naishtika Brahmacharis, unadulterated celibates. 2. Another son of Lord Brahma was Irreligion, whose wife's name was Falsity. From their combination were born 2 demons named Dambha or bluffing and Maya or cheating. These 2 demons were taken by a demon named Nirriti, who had no children. So please note, first, one lineage of Brahmaji's being said, great sons like Kumaras, then Narad Muni, Hamsa, Aruni, who all became Naishtika Brahmacharis. Then another lineage coming from Brahmaji is being said, where Brahmaji's son is Adharma and his wife was Falsity. And their children were Dambha and Maya. And these 2 were taken by one demon, Nirriti, who had no children. Text 3, Maitreya told Vidura, O great soul, from Dambha and Maya. Now note that Dambha and Maya were siblings. Both were born from Adharma and Falsity. So they were siblings, brother and sister. From Dambha and Maya were born greed and Nikriti. That means this is obviously illicit. Brother and sister, Dambha and Maya, from them are born greed and Nikriti or cunning. From the combination, so again, from greed and cunning, they're also siblings. From their combination came children named Krodha and Himsa, anger and envy. Again, Krodha and Himsa, from their combination were born Kali and Durukti. Kali and Durukti means harsh speech. Text 4. O greatest of all good men, by the combination of Kali and harsh speech were born children named Mrityu and Bhiti, death and fear. From the combination of Mrityu and Bhiti came children named Yatana. Yatana means excessive pain, and Niraya, hell. So, you see, all these offsprings are actually coming from illicit union between siblings. But also, this is the sequence in which one falls down. Beginning with irreligion, by not following dharma, then there is falsity, then that leads to dambha, and then cheating. That leads to greed and cunning, and that leads to anger and envy. That leads to Kali, means quarrel, and harsh speech, and that leads to death and fear. And after death, there is excessive pain in hell. So this is how one falls down. Text 5. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. So if you just hear it 3 times, this description of Brahmaji's offspring, irreligion, coming down all the way to hell. If you hear it 3 times, then you become washed of all sinful contamination. Maitreya, text 6. Maitreya continued, O best of the Kuru dynasty, I shall now describe to you the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu is also one son of Brahmaji. So now I will describe to you the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu, who was born of a part of a plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he was born of a part of a plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Swayambhuva Manu is born from whom? From Brahmaji. And Brahmaji is born from whom? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the Prakasha of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the, so the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, I'm sorry, Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, these are called the Purusha avatars, plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord. So, Brahmaji is born from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So, Brahmaji is a part of the plenary expansion. And from Brahmaji is born Swayambhuva Manu. That's being said here. Who was born of a part of a plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 7. Swayambhuva Manu had 2 sons of his wife Shatarupa. And the names of the sons were Uttanapad and Priyavrata. So Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa had 2 sons, Uttanapad and Priyavrata. Because both of them were descendants of a plenary expansion of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are coming from where? They are descending from the plenary expansion. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then Brahmaji, and Brahmaji's son, Swayambhuva Manu. Because both of them were descendants of a plenary expansion of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they were very competent to rule the universe, to maintain and protect the citizens. Text 8. King Uttanapad had 2 queens named Suniti and Suruchi. Suruchi was much more dear to the king. Suniti, who had a son named Dhruva, was not his favorite. So, of the 2 sons of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapad and Priyavrata, we are talking about the descendants of Uttanapad Mahārāja. So, Uttanapad Mahārāja had 2 queens. Suniti is the older one and Suruchi is the younger one. Of these 2, the king was fond of Suruchi. Suniti's son was Dhruva. Because Suniti was not his favorite, Dhruva was also not his favorite. So actually Suniti is not his favorite is being said, and she had a son named Dhruva. Suruchi was very dear to the king. Text 9. Once upon a time, King Uttanapad was patting the son of Suruchi, Uttam. So Suruchi also had a son. His name was Uttama. So once upon a time, King Uttanapad was patting the son of Suruchi, Uttama, placing him on his lap. Dhruva Maharaj was also trying to get on the king's lap, but the king did not very much welcome him. Because Suruchi was also standing nearby. The king didn't want to displease her. So he was playing with Uttama sitting on his lap. The king was playing with Uttama sitting on his lap. Dhruva Maharaj was also trying to get on his lap, but the king did not welcome him. Text 10. While the child Dhruva Maharaj was trying to get on the lap of his father, Suruchi, his stepmother, became very envious of the child, and with great pride, she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. So she was saying in such a way that the king could hear her, and she was speaking very proudly. Text 11. Queen Suruchi told Dhruva Maharaj, "My dear child, you do not deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of the king. Surely you are also the son of the king. But because you did not take your birth from my womb, you are not qualified to sit on your father's lap." So she's saying directly, you are not fit to sit on your father's lap because you're not born from me. Text 12. My dear child, you are unaware that you were born not of my womb, but of another woman. Therefore, you should know that your attempt is doomed to failure. You are trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill. Text 13. If you at all desire to rise to the throne of the king, then you have to undergo severe austerities. First of all, you must satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, and then, when you are favored by him because of such worship, you shall have to take your next birth from my womb. So what is Suruchi saying to the small child, Dhruva? That you don't deserve to sit on the throne or on your father's lap because you are not born as my child. That means only my son is fit. And because you're a small boy, you don't understand these things. But you are born from another woman. Because you're not born from me, even though you're attempting to sit on your father's lap, your attempts will be a failure. You are trying for something which is impossible. You cannot sit on the throne, nor can you sit on the king's lap, because you're not my son. But if you really have a strong desire to sit on the throne of the king, then first of all, you have to perform severe austerities. You have to undergo severe austerities. So you have to satisfy the Supreme Lord. When you get the Lord's favor, then you'll have to take birth from me. And then only you can become the king. Text 14. So one thing to be noted is when she's saying you have to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, does it mean that she's a great devotee? That's why she's telling him to satisfy the Supreme Lord? No, she's just speaking out of pride and her, saying that you should please the Supreme Lord. That's just a pretense. She's speaking out of pride. Text 14. The sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, as a snake when struck by a stick breathes very heavily, Dhruva Maharaj, having been struck by the strong words of his stepmother, began to breathe very heavily because of great anger. When he saw that his father was silent and did not protest, he immediately left the palace and went to his mother. So he felt, being a Kshatriya boy, even though he was a small child, nevertheless he was a Kshatriya, he could not tolerate the harsh words of his stepmother. And even more than that, his father didn't support him. His father didn't protest. He didn't say anything to the stepmother. So he immediately, he left that place and went to his mother. Text 15. When Dhruva Maharaj reached his mother, his lips were trembling in anger and he was crying very grievously. Queen Suniti immediately lifted her son onto her lap, while the palace residents, who had heard all the harsh words of Suruchi, related everything in detail. Thus Suniti also became greatly aggrieved. So Dhruva Maharaj couldn't speak. He was just breathing heavily out of anger and his lips were trembling. And he was also crying grievously, but he couldn't say anything. But the other palace servants who had heard what had happened or who had seen what had happened, they told Suniti what happened in detail. When Suniti heard this, she also became very sad. She became aggrieved. 16. This incident was unbearable to Suniti's patience. She began to burn as if in a forest fire. And in her grief, she became just like a burnt leaf and so lamented. As she remembered the words of her co-wife, her bright lotus-like face filled with tears, and thus she spoke. Text 17. She also was breathing very heavily, so she was also hurt. And she did not know the factual remedy for the painful situation. Not finding any remedy, she said to her son, My dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. So an important lesson to be learned here, even though she was affected herself, she was also grieving, but she didn't tell her son that your stepmother is wrong. How can she say this? And how, what kind of a father is the king? A small boy wanted to sit in the lap, but he didn't, he didn't show affection to the small boy. So she could have said so many things because she was feeling that pain, that the king didn't say anything, and her co-wife said that Dhruva could not sit on the lap because he is born from an unfortunate woman. So it was very painful for her that her son was insulted like that simply because he's born from her. However, she didn't say anything bad about her co-wife, Suruchi. She was feeling helpless. She was not able to find any remedy. And then she said to her son, "My dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others." This is how parents should train their children. She said, "Don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Even if they inflict some pain upon you, you don't have to wish that something should happen to them, something bad should happen to them." Why? Because anyone who inflicts pain upon others will suffer that pain himself. So one thing is, we will understand that Suruchi, because she has inflicted pain on Dhruva, she will also suffer that pain. That we understand. But another important point is, it is also applicable to Dhruva. The reason Dhruva is suffering this pain, or even Suniti is suffering this pain, is because we have inflicted such pain on others in the past. Therefore, it is coming back to us. So there is no point in retaliating or in wishing that the other person should suffer. That's the point here. What goes around comes around. If we inflict pain on others, then we will also suffer the same pain. So she's saying, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others, for your stepmother also. Suniti said, "My dear boy," this is text 18. Suniti said, "My dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi is so." That means it is true. "Because the king, your father, does not consider me his wife or even his maidservant. He feels ashamed to accept me. Therefore, it is a fact that you have taken birth from the womb of an unfortunate woman, and by being fed from her breast, you have grown up." So it's true what your stepmother said, that you are born from an unfortunate woman. It is true. Why? Because your father does not consider me his wife. What to speak of his wife? He doesn't even consider me as his maidservant. And you are born from me, and you grew up drinking my breast milk. Text 19. "My dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. Therefore, if you desire at all to sit on the same throne as your stepbrother Uttama, then give up your envious attitude and immediately try to execute the instructions of your stepmother. Without further delay, you must engage yourself in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Another wonderful instruction. You can always take the good, even though the other person's intentions may be bad. Like in this case, Suruchi's intention was not that she's actually blessing Dhruva Maharaj that you should, worship the Supreme Lord, and you have my mercy, with my blessings. Now you become a great devotee of the Lord by worshipping him. It's not like that. And then by that, or by my blessings, you worship the Supreme Lord, and in this way, I bless you, you'll get a nice kingdom. That's not at all her intention. Her intention was, she's just, flaunting, showing off her pride, her position as the favorite queen of the king, and also insulting Dhruva. That was her intention. However, Suniti is saying that even in her instructions, you can take the good. You carry out her instruction. She's telling you to worship the Supreme Lord. If you carried out this instruction of worshipping the Supreme Lord, it will only benefit you. It's not going to hurt you in any way. So just take the good in that instruction. Don't be envious. Give up your envious attitude. Don't see her, don't consider her harsh speech and all that. Just take the instruction. She has advised you to worship the Supreme Lord. You carry out that instruction. It's only going to benefit you. Without further delay, you must engage yourself in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, even from a reverse, what do you say? From a unfavorable or yes, from a situation which can be taken in a negative way, by all means. She's taking that situation. Suniti is taking that reverse situation. Or she's taking that she's taking a situation which is unfavorable, and she's using that situation to inspire faith in Dhruva Maharaj towards the Supreme Lord. She's instilling faith in the Supreme Lord, instilling faith in Dhruva Maharaj towards the Supreme Lord, using a negative situation where he was insulted. She's saying, without further delay, you must engage yourself in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 20. Suniti continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. So further, she's strengthening that faith now. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Brahmaji is the creator of this universe. How he got that potency? By worshipping the Supreme Lord. So one can even become as great as Brahma and create the whole universe. Then why you cannot get what you want? By worshipping the Lord. That's the point. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air, prana. So Brahmaji got that exalted post because of the Lord's mercy. And the Supreme Lord is worshipped even by great yogis by performing severe austerities. That's the point. Text 21. Suniti informed her son. So Brahmaji's great-grandfather, Dhruva Maharaj's father is Swayambhu Manu. His grandfather is Brahmaji. I'm sorry. Dhruva Maharaj's father is Uttanpad. Uttanpad and Dhruva Maharaj's grandfather is Swayambhu Manu. And his great-grandfather is Brahmaji. So first she gave the example of great-grandfather. Then she's giving the example of grandfather. Text 21. Suniti informed her son, your grandfather Swayambhuva Manu executed great sacrifices with distribution of charity, and thereby with unflinching faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Swayambhuva Manu also executed great sacrifices and he distributed charity with faith and devotion, and he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Lord. So, by performance of sacrifices, you're satisfying the Supreme Lord. And he also worshipped the Lord with devotion. In this way, he satisfied the Supreme Lord. And what did he achieve by that? By acting in that way, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness and afterwards achieved liberation, which is impossible to obtain by worshipping the demigods. So in this life, he got happiness, and after this life, he got liberation. Text 22. My dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart and without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service. So she's now giving direct instruction. She gave before also, but she's repeating it again. So the way your great-grandfather and your grandfather have worshipped the Supreme Lord, in the same way, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And he's very kind to his devotees. So you should take shelter of him. Person seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. So you want something material, you take shelter of the Lord. You want liberation, anyone who wants liberation, they also take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation. So what is allotted occupation? Your dharma, varnashrama dharma. So becoming purified by executing your dharma, just situate the Supreme Lord in your heart and without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service. So that is our instruction. You completely take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Without deviation, you engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. Text 23. My dear Dhruva, as far as I am concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek the pleasure of the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself, with a lotus flower in her hand, is always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord. So she's saying that I don't know what others think, but in my opinion, except for the Supreme Lord, nobody can mitigate your suffering. Whatever suffering you're undergoing now, that can be removed only by the Supreme Lord, no one else. This is my opinion, his mother saying. Many demigods like Lord Brahma seek the pleasure of goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself is always engaged in his service, in the Lord's service. That means people get many favors from the goddess of fortune. That means you can get wealth, you can get fame, you can get beauty, education, so on and so forth. All these are coming from the goddess of fortune. But these things are not going to satisfy you. These things are not going to solve your problem. Because the person who has all these things, the person who's the source of all these things, who's giving all these things to the people in this world, she is herself always engaged in the service of the Lord. She gets her satisfaction, her fulfillment by rendering service to the Lord. So if she is not getting satisfaction by these, how can anyone else get? She is finding even great personalities like Lord Brahma seek the favor of goddess of fortune to get those opulences. But in spite of having those, she's not satisfied. She's always engaged in the service of the Lord. So that, in my opinion, Suniti is saying to Dhruva Maharaj, I don't find anyone who can mitigate your suffering except the Supreme Lord. That means none of these things can satisfy you, can remove your, even, getting a kingdom or whatever else. These things are not going to satisfy you. Only you will become satisfied. Your suffering will be mitigated when you serve the lotus feet of the Lord. 24. The great sage Maitreya continued. The instruction of Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti was actually meant for fulfilling his desired objective. Therefore, after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house. Of course, what was on Dhruva Maharaj's mind? He was hurt by his stepmother's words, who said he could not sit on his father's throne unless he first satisfied the Supreme Lord. So he wanted that. By satisfying the Supreme Lord, he wanted to sit on the throne. And he wanted to get a throne, a kingdom even greater than his father's or grandfather's. So for that, he wanted to worship the Supreme Lord. So after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house. Text 25. The great sage Narada overheard this news, and understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruva and touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows. So Narad Muni heard, and he immediately, a small boy, a Kshatriya boy, 5-year-old boy, he left home to go and seek the Supreme Lord in the forest. That means he will perform tapasya and worship the Lord. So Narad Muni approached Dhruva, touched Dhruva's head. That means blessings of a pure devotee. And then he spoke as follows. Text 26. How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. Text 27. The great sage Narada told Dhruva, my dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor? 28. My dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy. Every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. So Narad Muni is trying to convince Dhruva Maharaj. First he said, you're just a small boy. You shouldn't take the harsh words of your elders so seriously. It's okay, But then if Dhruva Maharaj said that, no, I cannot tolerate this because I'm a Kshatriya boy, then if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy. So this, your false ego being affected, this is also another feature of Maya. You have to transcend the dualities of honor and dishonor. Because if you get affected, this is just going to keep you in this material world, in this samsara. So this kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of illusory energy. Every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. So just like how Suniti said, you're getting this type of treatment because this is part of your karma. You did like this to someone else, now it is getting back to you. So you should tolerate. First thing is just don't take it seriously, forget it, and you're a small child and just go and play. So if that is not satisfactory, then, you have to transcend this. So if you really, if you say, I'm not just a small boy, I cannot tolerate this, then the higher instruction is you have to transcend the dualities, both enjoying and suffering. Understanding that whatever you're getting is the result of your own actions. Text 29. The process of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very wonderful. One who is intelligent should accept that process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable, by his supreme will. So this is bhakti, right? You just accept anything that is coming as everything, even the difficult situation, is coming from the Lord to help me progress in bhakti, like that, taking shelter of the Supreme Lord under all circumstances. Text 30. Now you have decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother, just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for any ordinary man. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narad Muni is testing Dhruva Maharaj that no, it's very difficult in the forest. There will be wild animals. It will be difficult for an ordinary person to go through all those difficulties, severe austerities. It's not so easy to satisfy the Supreme Lord, like that. Text 31. Narad Muni continued, after trying this process for many, many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continually in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. So in spite of trying this, it's not that anyone who takes to this path gets success. First of all, it's so difficult. And after doing it for many, many, many lifetimes, not just years, still one may not get success. So just forget this like that. Text 32. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function. Text 33. One should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the supreme will. A person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nations very easily. Text 34. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate toward him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. So, how to be unaffected by miseries in this material world? By the circumstances that come in this material world. If you see someone more qualified, you should become pleased to meet such a qualified person. You should render service to that person. If you meet someone who's less qualified, you should be compassionate and you should share whatever you have with that person. And if you find someone who's equal to you, you should make friendship with that person, equals. If you have this type of consciousness, then you will never be affected by the threefold miseries. Narad Muni is instructing. Text 35. After listening to this, Dhruva Mahārāja said, my dear Lord Naradji, for a person whose heart is disturbed by the material conditions of happiness and distress, whatever you have so kindly explained for attainment of peace of mind is certainly a very good instruction. But as far as I am concerned, I am covered by ignorance, and this kind of philosophy does not touch my heart. So whatever you have said is true, and it will help a person who is affected by happiness and distress. This instruction will help him to overcome. But I am covered in deep ignorance. Your philosophy is not appealing to me. It is not touching my heart. 36. My dear Lord, I am very impudent for not accepting your instructions. But this is not my fault. It is due to my having been born in a Kshatriya family. My stepmother Suruchi has pierced my heart with her harsh words. Therefore, your valuable instruction does not stand in my heart. 37. O learned Brahmana, I want to occupy a position more exalted than any yet achieved within the three worlds by anyone. Not that I want a kingdom like my father. I want a position or a kingdom which nobody has ever had in the three worlds so far. That means the best. Even by my father and grandfather. If you will oblige, kindly advise me of an honest path. And Dhruva Mahārāja is saying he wants an honest path. Please advise me of an honest path to follow by which I can achieve the goal of my life. So what does he want? He wants a position even better than his father or grandfather. And how to get? He wants an honest path by which he can achieve that. Text 38. My dear Lord, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living beings. So, you go everywhere to benefit the living entities, just like the sun is rotating, revolving, for the benefit of the whole world. In that way, you are also traveling with your veena to benefit all living beings. That means, please instruct me, give me a path which will help me achieve my goal. Like that. Text 39. The sage Maitreya continued, the great personality Narad Muni, upon hearing the words of Dhruva Mahārāja, became very compassionate toward him. Vaishnavas are paradukka dukhi. They are very compassionate. And in order to show him his causeless mercy, he gave him the following expert advice. Text 40. The great sage Narada told Dhruva Mahārāja, the instruction given by your mother Suniti to follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just suitable for you. You should therefore completely absorb yourself in the devotional service of the Lord. Text 41. Any person who desires the fruits of the four principles, religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end liberation, That means if you're desiring dharma, artha, kama or moksha, should engage himself in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for worship of his lotus feet yields the fulfillment of all of these. So if you want anything, akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So you want material things, you are full of material desires. How to achieve them? By serving the Supreme Lord, worship the Supreme Lord. You want liberation? How to get liberation? You surrender to the Supreme Lord and you worship the Supreme Lord. You'll get liberation. And you don't have any desire, no material desire, no desire for liberation. Then what should you do? Then also you should surrender to the Supreme Lord. Then you'll get the highest goal. You'll get love of Godhead. Text 42. My dear boy, I therefore wish all good fortune for you. You should go to the bank of the Yamuna, where there is a virtuous forest named Madhuvan, and there be purified. Just by going there, one draws nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always lives there. So in Vraja, there are 12 forests. There's Vrindavan, Madhuvan, Bahulavan, like that. So Narad Muni is guiding Dhruva Maharaj to go to Madhuvan on the banks of the river Yamuna. And he said that anyone who goes there, simply by going there, you come very close to the Supreme Lord, who always lives there. The Lord is always residing there in Vraja. So simply by going there, you come very close to the Lord. Therefore, you go to Madhuvan, and there on the banks of the river Yamuna, you worship the Supreme Lord. Text 43. Narad Muni instructed, my dear boy, in the waters of the Yamuna river, which is known as Kalindi, you should take 3 baths daily, because the water is very auspicious, sacred and clear. After bathing, you should perform the necessary regulative principles for Ashtanga Yoga and then sit down on your asana, sitting place, in a calm and quiet position. So how to perform this? First of all, in Ashtanga Yoga, because this is Satya Yoga. In Satya Yoga, the practice is Ashtanga Yoga. So this is how you should do. Narad Muni is saying, take bath 3 times in the Yamuna water, which is pure, sacred, clear and auspicious. Take bath 3 times. And then you practice Ashtanga Yoga by sitting on an asana in a calm and quiet position. Text 44. After sitting on your seat, practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercises, pranayam, and thus gradually control the life air, the mind and the senses. So by pranayam, that means the vayu, prana, you control the airs in the body. By that, you can control your senses and mind. There's a relationship between prana and the senses. When the prana flows nicely, then, or when the senses were, so there's a connection between eating, then sense control, movement of prana and mind. They're all connected. So if you control your food, the senses are controlled. Then by that, the prana, so actually it is like this. Prana becomes controlled. Yes. So by controlling your food, your senses become controlled. By that, prana becomes controlled, and by that, the mind is controlled. So Narad Muni is saying that by these breathing exercises, gradually control the life air, the prana, mind and senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination, and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So after you control your mind and senses, you become free from material contamination. And with patience, great patience, now you meditate, fix your mind on the Supreme Lord. 45. Then there's a description of the form of the Lord on which he's supposed to meditate. 45. The form of the Lord is described herein. The Lord's face is perpetually very beautiful and pleasing in attitude. To the devotees who see him, he appears never to be displeased, and he is always prepared to award benedictions to them. His eyes, his nicely decorated eyebrows, his raised nose, and his broad forehead are all very beautiful. He is more beautiful than all the demigods. So meditate on this form of the Lord, which is very pleasing. He's always he never appears to be displeased with his devotees. And when his form is such that it appears like he's prepared, he's ready to give any benedictions to the devotees. Nicely decorated with eyebrows, his nose is raised, forehead is broad, and he's very beautiful to look at. You cannot compare his beauty with any of the demigods. He's more beautiful than all the demigods taken together. Text 46. Narad Muni continued, the Lord's form is always youthful. Every limb and every part of his body is properly formed, free from defect. His eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun. Eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun. He is always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul. And anyone so fortunate as to look upon him feels all satisfaction. The Lord is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered soul, for he is the ocean of mercy. So you get so much assurance. No doubt we are so sinful. We are such offenders. And we are filled with all dark qualities. And still, it's not about how fallen we are. It's just about how kind and merciful the Lord is. He's always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul, no matter what you may have done. If you're able to just surrender to the Supreme Lord, surrender means what? Surrender means from this point onwards, so there are 6 symptoms of surrender. You will only do what is favorable to bhakti. You will give up anything which is unfavorable to bhakti. You will have full confidence in the Lord's protection. You accept the Lord, only the Lord, as your maintainer. You will completely become dependent on the Lord so that you are not concerned about your maintenance, about your protection anymore. Because now you have put yourself in the Lord's hands. If he keeps you, you will live. If he kills you, you die. Because now it is his, you have given yourself to him. And you always remain very meek and humble in front of the Lord. These are the symptoms of surrender. So when one surrenders like this to the Lord, never mind, even if your heart is impure. Never mind, even if you have so many offenses in you. But if you have surrendered with full confidence like this at the lotus feet of the Lord, that he is my only protector, then to such persons, he's ready to give his protection. If one is able to surrender, it doesn't matter how many faults a person may have, how many offenses a person may have. If one is able to surrender to him, he takes full charge of that person. He is prepared to give full protection to such person. And one who is surrendered, how does he look upon the Lord? When he sees the Lord, he feels full assurance. He gets full confidence. He gets full satisfaction. The Lord is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered soul, for he is an ocean of mercy. So, whose greatness is this? That the Lord is worthy to take shelter of. This is the Lord's greatness because he is so merciful. He's simply the only price that one has to pay to receive the Lord's complete shelter. The only price is firm faith in the Lord. We have to develop full faith in the Lord. How do you know if we have full faith? We know the symptom of this faith is surrender. And surrender is known by these 6 symptoms that I mentioned just now. 47. The Lord is further described as having, so Narad Muni is saying, this is how you should meditate on the Lord. The Lord is so merciful. The Lord is further described as having the mark of Srivatsa, or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deep bluish. The Lord is a person. He wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifest with 4 hands which hold, beginning from the lower left hand, a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. So Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, the Lord is holding. Beginning from the lower left hand, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. So this is how we should meditate on the Lord. Text 48. The entire body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, is decorated. So there are so many ornaments, garlands, garments, like that. He wears a valuable jeweled helmet, means crown, necklaces, bracelets. His neck is adorned with the Kaustuba jewel, and he is dressed in yellow silk garments. 49. The Lord is decorated with small golden bells around his waist, and his lotus feet are decorated with golden ankle bells. All his bodily features are very attractive and pleasing to the eyes. He is always peaceful, calm, and quiet, and very pleasing to the eyes and the mind. 50. Real yogis meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord as he stands on the whirl of the lotus of their hearts. That means the Lord in the heart, Paramatma, right? He's standing, he's present. So our heart is like a lotus and the Lord is standing there. So real yogis meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord as he stands on the whirl of the lotus of their hearts, the jewel-like nails of his lotus feet glittering. 51. The Lord is always smiling, and the devotee should constantly see the Lord in this form as he looks very mercifully toward the devotee. In this way, the meditator should look toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the bestower of all benedictions. 52. One who meditates in this way, concentrating his mind upon the always auspicious form of the Lord, is very soon freed from all material contamination. And he does not come down from meditation upon the Lord. So, anyone who is meditating upon the Lord, that means concentrating his mind, he's fixing his mind on this form of the Lord, he becomes free from all material contamination. And he doesn't come down from meditation upon the Lord. That means he progresses further when all material contamination is removed. Now he's able to meditate continuously. He can meditate for as long as he wants. This is called dhyana. Dhyana means continuously you can meditate for any amount of time. 53. O son of the king, now I shall speak unto you the mantra, which is to be chanted with this process of meditation. So Narad Muni told Dhruva Maharaj the process of Ashtanga Yoga and the form on which he should meditate, a description of that form. Now, along with this, Narad Muni is saying you should chant this mantra. O son of the king, now I shall speak unto you the mantra, which is to be chanted with this process of meditation. One who carefully chants this mantra for 7 nights can see the perfect human beings flying in the sky. You can see the siddhas flying in the sky. Perfect, those who have achieved perfection, you can see them flying in the sky. When you chant this mantra for 7 nights. What is that mantra? 54. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 12-syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. One should install the physical forms of the Lord, and that means there should be a deity, physical form of the Lord. And with the chanting of the mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs, exactly according to the rules and regulations prescribed by authorities. But this should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences. So now Dhruva Maharaj is in the forest. So he won't get, it is said, varieties of foodstuffs. So whatever is available, time, place, and circumstance means whatever is available, according to that, he should offer flowers, fruits, and any foods available. By offering that, he should chant this mantra to the form of the Lord. Form of the Lord also. Now, in forest, what can he have? With clay and water, he can make a form of the Lord and offer flowers and fruits like that and chant this mantra. 55. One should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower garlands, fruits, flowers, and vegetables which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses. So if there is no fruits or anything, just collect grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skins of the trees. If there's no grass, then just take tree bark, and if possible, by offering tulsi leaves, which are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 56. It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp, wood, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principles. A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober and peaceful and must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest. He should be satisfied with eating whatever is available. 57. My dear Dhruva, besides worshipping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day, you should meditate upon the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations as exhibited by his supreme will and personal potencies. So, Narad Muni said how to do Ashtanga Yoga, how to meditate on the form of the Lord, and also how to worship the Lord. So, he gave a mantra to be chanted, and also he told him to make a deity with clay and water and worship the deity by offering flowers and fruits, grasses, tree bark, whatever he can get, pure water, like this. And in addition to this, he's saying you should also meditate on the pastimes of the Lord performed in his various incarnations. That means Narad Muni must have described these pastimes, otherwise how Dhruva Maharaj will meditate on the pastimes? He must have described the pastimes also, isn't it? So you should meditate upon the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations as exhibited by his supreme will and personal potencies. 58. One should follow in the footsteps of previous devotees regarding how to worship the Supreme Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia, or one should offer worship within the heart by reciting the mantra to the personality of Godhead, who is non-different from the mantra. So when you're worshipping the deity, how should you worship? By following in the footsteps of the previous devotees, acharyas, using the paraphernalia and the procedure. Or if you don't have all that, then within your mind you can worship the Lord by chanting the mantra. The mantra is non-different from the Lord. 59:60. Anyone who thus engages in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely with his mind, words, and body. So with his words, he's chanting mantra. With his body, he's worshipping the deity, taking bath, Ashtanga Yoga he's doing. And with his mind, also he's doing Ashtanga Yoga, meditating on the Lord, meditating on his pastimes, like that. So anyone who engages in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely with his mind, words, and body, and who is fixed in the activities of the prescribed devotional methods, is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. That means whatever you're desiring, if you're desiring some material result, you will get that. If you're desiring liberation, you will get that. And if you want love of Godhead, the Lord will bless you with that. So according to your desire. But the procedure is same. You have to do tivra bhakti, tivrena bhakti yogena. Engage your body, mind, and words in the service, direct devotional service of the Lord. If a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation from the material world, he is awarded these results. 61. If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification. So there's no question of any sort of karma, what to speak of kamya karma. You're engaged 24 hours in the service of the Lord, devotional service of the Lord. 62. When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he started for Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and which is therefore especially auspicious. So Dhruva Maharaj went to Madhuvan. That means he went to Vraja. 63. After Dhruva entered Madhuvan forest to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wise to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narad Muni approached, so after instructing Dhruva Maharaj, Narad Muni went to the king, Uttanpad Maharaj, to see what's happening. When Narad Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisances. After being seated comfortably, Narada began to speak. 64. The great sage Narada inquired, "My dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rites, economic development, and sense gratification?" 65. The king replied, "O best of the Brahmanas, I am very much addicted to my wife, and I am so fallen that I have abandoned all merciful behavior, even to my son, who is only 5 years old. I have banished him and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee. 66. My dear Brahmana, the face of my son was just like a lotus flower. I am thinking of his precarious condition. He is unprotected and he might be very hungry. He might have lain down somewhere in the forest and the wolves might have attacked him to eat his body. 67. Alas, just see how I was conquered by my wife. Just imagine my cruelty. Out of love and affection, the boy was trying to get up on my lap, but I did not receive him, nor did I even pat him for a moment. Just imagine how hard-hearted I am. 68. The great sage Narada replied, My dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although you have no actual information of his influence, his reputation is already spread all over the world. 69. My dear king, your son is very competent. He will perform activities which would be impossible even for great kings and sages. Very soon he will complete his task and come back home. You should know that he will also spread your reputation all over the world. 70. The great Maitreya continued. The king, Uttanpad, after being advised by Narad Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva. 71. Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. So there's no sleeping. He's just up 24 hours and he's fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 72. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries. So first night he fasted completely. Now he's fasting. And how is he eating? For the first month, for the whole month, he ate only fruits and berries on every third day. So he won't eat for 2 days, and on the third day he'll eat some fruits and berries, and again he won't eat for the next 2 days, and again on the third day he will eat, like that. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together. And in this way, he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 73. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days. And what was he eating? And for his eatables, he took dry grass and leaves. So no more fruits and berries. The fallen leaves, dry leaves, and dried up grass. That too every 6 days he's taking. Thus he continued his worship. And 5-year-old boy, imagine. 74. In the third month, he drank water only every 9 days. Now he stopped eating also, not even dried leaves. He's only drinking water. So you may think he's drinking water every day. No, every 9 days he's drinking some water. And again for the next 9 days, nothing. No drinking water even. So no eating and no drinking also. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses. And when he's fasting, what is he doing? He's fasting to help in his meditation, not that to distract your mind from fasting. Now you'll do some other thing, some, not like that. He's meditating on the Lord, and this fasting is helping him in full meditation on the Supreme Lord. Thus, he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses. He's also worshipping the Lord, by the way. 75. In the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. That means he stopped drinking, eating, everything. Now he's sustaining his life by breathing, but he's not breathing continuously like we do. Not even once a day. Every 12th day, he inhales once, takes air. And with that, he sustains his life for the next 12 days and he's meditating. In this way, he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 76. By the 5th month, Mahārāja Dhruva, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg. That means stop breathing completely now. Standing on one leg. Just as a column stands without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on the Parabrahman. So now he closed all his air holes, his eyes, ears, nose, mouth, his anus, genitals, everything is closed. and he stopped breathing also. And he's meditating on the Supreme Lord in the heart. So the Lord is very much present there and he's fully focused on the Lord and all holes are closed. So the Lord is Paramatma. Paramatma means everything is resting in the Lord, isn't it? So the whole universe is, he's meditating on Garbhodakshay Vishnu, by the way. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu is Paramatma for the whole universe. And that Lord is in his heart and everything is closed. He's not even breathing. So all the living entities that are in the Lord, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, from Garbhodakshay Vishnu only is coming the Virata Purusha. That means the Virata Purusha is rested in Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu is in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj and everything is closed now and Dhruva Maharaj stopped breathing. So all the living entities that are there, they're also suffocating now. They're not able to breathe. That's the thing. So by the 5th month, Maharaj Dhruva, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand only on one leg, just as a column stands without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on the Parabrahman. 77. He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 78. When Dhruva Maharaj thus he captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the refuge of the total material creation and who is the master of all living entities, the three worlds began to tremble. 79. As Dhruva Maharaj, the king's son, so now the Lord is in his heart. The Lord is the Lord of the whole universe. So all the weight of the universe is there in Dhruva Maharaj's heart now. As Dhruva Maharaj, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, he's balancing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half of the earth, just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with his every step. Because now he has the Lord who is supporting the whole universe. 80. When Dhruva Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and his closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated, and thus took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 81. The demigod said, Dear Lord, you are the refuge of all moving and non-moving living entities. We feel all living entities to be suffocating, their breathing processes choked up. We have never experienced such a thing. Since you are the ultimate shelter of all surrendered souls, we have therefore approached you. Kindly save us from this danger. 82. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanpad, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breathing process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation. So that was the first chapter of Dhruva Upakhyanam. It's a long one. There were 82 verses. The next chapter is also big. There are 67 verses. So I think I will take a break here and continue Dhruva Upakhyanam again in another session. But we know there are 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 5 chapters. So we will read these 5 chapters to cover Dhruva Upakhyanam. Hare Krishna.